Hey, it's Brunch with Brian, your daily weekday investing live stream, home investing live stream. And we got some fun stuff today. Did you know that it's National Boy Scout Day today? And yes, I was in the Boy Scouts. I actually love the Boy Scouts. And what was the motto of the Boy Scouts? It's be prepared. So today we're going to talk about how to be prepared for the crucial steps of the business. What are the crucial steps of the business? The opening call, closing call, and the deal meeting. Now, I'm going to talk to you about what I think you need to do to be prepared to be as effective as possible on those crucial 3 steps of the business. But like I said, I was a Boy Scout. We used to do these winter campouts, believe it or not, in Minnesota. I always remember this one called Camp Heritage, and we camped right on the top of a ridge where it was really windy. It was intense. That's a joke. It was intense. Okay. And that joke brings us to the point that it is Laugh and Grow Rich Day. Laugh and grow rich. So stay positive, laugh, always have a few laughs. You know, what do Boy Scouts have in common with sailors? It's nothing. Okay. So couple of jokes. Haven't told many jokes lately. I did like that first one. And so I like jokes, and that keeps you smiling, right? And so laugh and grow rich. It's Laugh and Grow Rich Day. How do you laugh and grow rich? You stay in a positive mood, laughing and smiling. You know, I'm such a big proponent there. What are those great for? They're good for your health. They actually lower your blood pressure, lower stress, actually increase your, strengthen your immune system, and lots of positive things. Elevates your mood for sure. So always come on here and smile and laugh with me. Now, how are you going to be prepared for, also it's Super Bowl hangover day. And now, do you think that Tom Brady and all these teams, I mean, how much preparation goes into playing in the Super Bowl? It's all about preparation. You've got 3.5 hours basically to demonstrate everything that you've prepared for your entire life, you know, to get to that game. If you're in that game, you've prepared your entire football career, your entire life to get to that one point. So when you guys are working in your real estate business, you are striving to get to what point? What are you preparing for? You're preparing to get in front of that customer with an agreement that they can sign, and you're buying their house. That's your Super Bowl. Actually, it's the deal meeting. The deal meeting is like your Super Bowl. So basically, your Super Bowl, how are you going to be prepared for your Super Bowl? All right, well, first of all, when you are talking about your opening call, when you're making opening calls, there's very little preparation other than you having one of the opening call forms. Now, the opening call forms consist of one of 4 forms. Okay, so the first form to be prepped to do your opening call is either the FSBO opening call form. I used to call it the FSBO call script, but it's a FSBO opening call, or the incoming seller call, which means they're calling you. It's the same exact script with just a little tiny bit of a difference at the top. And then there's the landlord script. So if you're calling houses for rent, that would be the way to be prepared, is follow that script. Now, you need to also be prepared. You need to find your sources. You need to find 5 or 10 or 20 numbers to call. So that's part of your preparation as well there. The other opening call script is if you're using the VAs, Ron LeGrand's VAs, that would be called the seller info script. So that's the script. That's an opening call script. Now, how do you get prepped for your closing call? This is really important, because your closing call is the moment of truth, really. It's where you come to a meeting of the minds. Actually, there's a couple of moments of truth, the deal meeting and the closing call. But in the closing call, how do you get prepped for that? Number one, have the right closing call script. So look at what information was gathered from the opening call. Pick the right closing call script. If you're doing a creative financing deal, that's going to be seller financing, subject to sandwich lease purchase, probably. There's a couple of other ones, subordination and contract for deed, you'll find in the what to say and what to do system, that are a little bit more advanced strategies, is what we call advanced strategies. So those are in there too, but you start by having the right script sitting in front of you. You have a good area you can talk. This sounds silly, but you have some area where you're not going to get interrupted and it's not too noisy, and you can sound professional. establishing credibility is crucial on this closing call. And if it's like rocking and rolling, you got dogs barking and kids screaming, that doesn't look so professional. So again, you want to be professional, and that also includes a good phone connection. So if you're cutting out, that's no good either. So that's part of your prep work to make sure those things are handled and you've got that done. All right, so that's really, and then for your closing call as well. Now, this is a good question. People ask all the time, should I be looking these up on Zillow? If I get a sheet, like an opening call script from an assistant or a virtual assistant, and it's a no lead, they say no, they're probably not interested, or if it's a yes lead, should I actually go and look them up on Zillow? I absolutely say yes. I think that's a key part of your preparation. I think that it takes about 30 seconds to look something up on Zillow now and have a much better idea about the call before you call. In fact, you may be able to identify the seller's hot buttons just by reading their Zillow ad. Maybe you've looked at this thing on Zillow anyway. Maybe you're getting the phone number off Zillow. So read the description, go back. Now, this is important. This is a way of preparing. This is a secret tip. Go under price/tax history. Sometimes they list it as price and tax history under that house, okay, on Zillow. Click that, and usually there will be a link right there. It should display when the house sold last and what it sold for. Okay, and that's really important. That's really going to change your whole approach potentially. What if they just bought it a year ago for $50,000 less than what they're asking? Or what if they are asking $100,000 less than what they paid, but they bought it 15 years ago? So very different approaches potentially to the same deal. I want you to have that knowledge. I want you to go on Zillow, maybe even go on a couple other sites. Trulia has some nice information about houses. There's other websites that have good info. That's good to, I say always go on Zillow before you pick up the phone for a closing call. There's so much to know about that house. And if you're just going in there calling it blind, now I will say that the only exception is if you have 10 calls to make in 5 minutes to do it, or 50 calls to make in an hour, something like that. If you have a ton of calls and you've got to get through them, maybe you don't have time to look them all up on Zillow, but that's going to never happen to you. That maybe happens to us when we're going to an event. You're never going to have more than 3 or 4 or 5 leads at a time probably. And if you do, hooray, huzzah, you're doing great. All right, so but that's how you be prepared for your closing call. In terms of your deal meeting, I can't believe I'm going this much in depth, but I am a Boy Scout and I really believe in being prepared. What does a Boy Scout know? A Boy Scout, what is a Boy Scout? A Boy Scout's always prepared, but beyond that, a Boy Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. So that's the 12 things that a Boy Scout always is. And I still remember it. I'm going to talk about remembering what you need to remember tomorrow on Brunch with Brian, okay? But I can remember that. I can recite that. I haven't been to a Boy Scout meeting for many years. So sometimes you just remember stuff. All right, so what do you need prepared? That's why I like lists, okay? Anytime you can put stuff in a list, but I'll talk more about that tomorrow. So if you're writing these down, taking notes, put these into lists, What do I need to know? Number 1, I need a script. Number 2, I need a quiet place to call. Number 3, I need to go on Zillow and do a little research, like that. Now, what about your deal meeting? I'm going to just go quick on this. What I want you to have ready for your deal meeting is I want you to have a portfolio, like a professional looking with little gold corners or something that looks cool, that looks professional. And that way you're not carrying your paperwork all hanging out all over and everything. Now, it can be legal or letter size, but make sure you have manila-sized envelopes. I don't want you carrying your contracts hanging out the end. I want manila-sized, legal-sized manila folders, legal-sized manila folders to carry your deals around in. All right, so that and a nice portfolio to carry. And obviously, you've already done the research, or if you didn't do all the research before the closing call, you're way doing it before a deal meeting. And so then you got to even just do things like look up where the house is, program it in on your GPS, and figure out anything you need to do before you go out there. Make sure you look good. That's a big thing too. I mean, you don't think about that stuff, but being prepared, your car even. Your car should be prepared. Your car should not be all dirty and grungy. So when you pull up in front of their house, they look out there and see a really beat up, grungy car. I don't care as long as it's not dented or rusty, as long as it's clean, most cars are pretty acceptable. You don't have to have some Cadillac or Mercedes or something like that. I grew up with Cadillacs being the coolest thing. My mom and our neighbors had a Cadillac, and then now it's Mercedes because Ron loves Mercedes and we do love Mercedes too. So guys, that's what I want you to do. And obviously on the deal meeting for preparation too, you got to review the script. And so there's a big deal meeting script. And what else do you do before the deal meeting is you prepare the paperwork. Now, that's another question people ask. Do you write it in or type it? I love to type. I would much rather have it typed in there. Well, basically you're just, you've got the agreement in a Word file, and all you're doing is just putting it in. And we've got a form. The way we've got it set up is, you just type it in and the underline is still there. So it's easy to fill out. And yes, it looks a lot more professional when you walk into their house or you do a virtual deal meeting and you're showing them the agreement and everything is all typed in. And it makes it seem like it's less negotiable, to be honest with you. If it's kind of scribbled in there, hey, I could scratch that out and scribble in something else. But if it's typed, it's like, whoa, should we, we better not touch that or scratch that out. So that's why I like a typed agreement. So in preparation to be the best prepared for your deal meetings, yeah, I want you to have a typed agreement. Now, you're not always going to know all 4 Pretty House deal points. And so if you don't, you type in what you know and you leave blank what you don't, and you fill it out in the deal meeting. But that's pretty much it for your being prepped. And I want you to always be prepped, be prepared for your opening calls, closing calls, and deal meetings. In honor of the Boy Scouts today, you're going to always be prepared. So join us back here tomorrow on Brunch with Brian. And tomorrow is Teaching Tuesday. It's every time at the same time, weekday. We're a little late today, so forgive us on that. But we are always here at the same time, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. So join us for Brunch with Brian every weekday. And don't forget Teaching Tuesdays tomorrow, so important. And in the meantime, guys, stay happy. Remember, it's Laugh and Grow Rich Day, and it's Boy Scouts, so be prepared. All right, until I see you next time, keep expecting success, getting awesome training, and taking action.